Picture this. You're a multi-million-dollar rapper. Your socials lit. Your features booked months in advance. Your security team tighter than Fort Knox. You've got everything money can buy: cars, jewelry, private jets. But there's one name that makes you hesitate before even posting on Instagram. One name that makes grown men second-guess their alliances, delete posts, cancel collabs, and apologize live on camera just to avoid the heat. That name? NBA YoungBoy. At 26, YoungBoy Never Broke Again isn't just a rapper. He's a force of nature. He hails from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, a city where the streets are cold, the loyalties are fleeting, and survival comes down to who's sharper, faster, and willing to do what it takes. YoungBoy grew up in those trenches. He's got more confirmed bodies tied to his circle than most rap legends have in their entire discographies. But it's not just numbers. It's the fear that comes with his reputation. This is a man who turns the music industry into his personal chessboard. Every move his peers make, they have to ask themselves, how will YoungBoy respond? Just last year, rappers were throwing shots at him. Today, they're posting his tracks on their stories, singing along like fans. G Herbo went from riding with Lil Durk to turning up with YoungBoy's crew. Pooh Shiesty, who once ran with Durk, is now liking YoungBoy's posts. Even Young Ace, King Von's right-hand man, is suddenly trying to align himself with the very person whose crew allegedly took out his homie. The pattern is unmistakable. Rappers choose survival over pride, money over loyalty. But why? Because crossing YoungBoy isn't just about dissing a rapper. It's about playing with fire in the real streets. Look at his affiliates, NBA Lil Pap, linked to the killing of G Money, and Ben 10, whose rap sheet reads like a crime novel, full of attempted murders, weapons charges, and street business dealings. These are not just stories to flex in a song. These are consequences that shape careers and, in some cases, lives. YoungBoy's early reputation was forged in the harshest ways. Sources say his first alleged body happened when he was still a teenager, a misfire in a street conflict that tragically hit the wrong person. But even then, YoungBoy's response was clear: touch family, face consequences. That type of timing and reactivity followed him into his music career. He doesn't just rap about the streets, he commands them. The fear of YoungBoy is psychological as much as it is physical. Take Lil Durk. When he was free, rappers picked sides, aligning with Durk in the heat of the beef. But now, with Durk locked up on higher murder charges, the same people who dissed YoungBoy last year are bending, posting his music, showing support. It's not loyalty, it's survival. Every move YoungBoy makes sends ripples through the rap world. G Herbo, a rapper who once openly rode with Durk, is now spotted in clubs vibing with YoungBoy's crew. Pooh Shiesty, whose loyalties were thought to be set in stone, is publicly supporting YoungBoy online. Even Young Ace, who was close with King Von, is pivoting to align with YoungBoy. The message is clear: the streets watch. The streets respond. Cross YoungBoy, and you learn why fear is more potent than respect in this industry. But it's not just fear. YoungBoy enforces loyalty in a way most rappers wouldn't dare. His crew doesn't just ride or die. They obey, sometimes brutally. DJ Academics noted firsthand how YoungBoy disciplines his friends if they step out of line. Lil dumps bloody lip. Rumors suggest YoungBoy had a hand in that correction. Spankings, isolation, psychological pressure. These are the tools he uses to maintain control. If his own crew fears him, imagine how outsiders feel. This reputation affects decisions at the highest levels of the rap game. Rich the Kid, Lil Baby, and others have reportedly had opportunities to collaborate with YoungBoy or his rivals. But every choice comes with scrutiny. Work with the wrong side and you risk social media backlash, fan anger, and worse. YoungBoy's influence doesn't stop at music. It dictates alliances, enforces loyalty, and reshapes careers. And yet, despite all the drama, the alleged hits, the legal battles, YoungBoy thrives. His music hits #1. Projects drop while he's under house arrest. The label tries to suppress him. He walks away and lands a bigger deal. It's this combination of real-life reputation, street credibility, and unstoppable drive that keeps rappers on edge. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly why NBA YoungBoy isn't just another rapper with a scary backstory. He's a living example of power, influence, and the consequences of crossing him. The streets aren't just a backdrop for his music. They're the foundation of his empire. And anyone daring to test him learns the hard way that in his world, loyalty isn't optional and survival is everything. When you talk about NBA YoungBoy, you're not just talking about one man. You're talking about an entire network of loyalty, fear, and real-world consequences. His affiliates, the people who ride for him, are extensions of his influence, and their actions send shockwaves throughout the rap game. This is why rappers who once dissed him now scramble to align with him. It's survival, plain and simple. Take NBA Lil Pap, for example. Pap allegedly played a role in the killing of G-Money, a rapper who used to mentor YoungBoy before they fell out. Pap claimed he was out of town when the incident happened, but cell phone records contradicted that statement. Whether he was directly involved or not, the streets viewed this as a demonstration of YoungBoy's reach. His people are willing to go to extremes, and everyone in the industry knows it. Then there's NBA Ben 10, whose rap sheet reads like a crime thriller. Weapons charges, attempted murder, drug cases. The man's history alone could intimidate entire rap crews. When comedian Drusky made a joke about YoungBoy's fiancé, it was allegedly Ben 10 who issued a warning. Why y'all ends be dying? That's not just internet talk. That's real-world intimidation from someone with a proven track record. And when your affiliates have that level of loyalty and willingness to act, it changes the calculus for every rapper in the industry. Now let's talk about how fear reshapes alliances. When Lil Durk was free and beef with YoungBoy was at its peak, many rappers openly chose sides, riding with Durk and dissing YoungBoy. They felt safe in numbers, thinking the rivalry was just a rap beef. But then Durk got locked up on higher murder charges, and suddenly the landscape changed. The same rappers who dissed YoungBoy last year are now showing him respect, posting his music on their stories, attending his shows, and publicly acknowledging him. It's a complete 180. Not because they suddenly respect him more, but because they fear what might happen if they don't. G Herbo is a prime example. Once a loyal supporter of Durk, he was recently seen in a club turning up with YoungBoy's crew, acting like a fan at a YoungBoy concert. This isn't just a casual vibe shift, it's a survival tactic. Pushisti, another rapper formerly aligned with Durk, has been spotted liking YoungBoy's social media posts, publicly supporting him even after previously opposing him. And Young Ace, King Von's former right-hand man who once openly supported Von's circle, is now trying to cozy up to YoungBoy's camp. The pattern is clear. When YoungBoy flexes his influence, the industry bends, but the fear isn't abstract. It's grounded in patterns that rappers witness every day. Look at the body count associated with YoungBoy's circle. G-Money dead, JD Young dead, King Von dead. All had beef or conflicts connected to YoungBoy in some way. Whether he orchestrated these outcomes directly or not, the perception is enough to keep the entire rap industry cautious. When you see this much coincidental fallout, you start making decisions based on survival rather than pride. Even within his own crew, YoungBoy enforces loyalty with iron fists. DJ Academics described how visiting YoungBoy's house revealed a strict, disciplined environment. Friends and affiliates feared crossing him. Lil dumps bloody lip. Speculation suggests it was a punishment from YoungBoy himself for stepping out of line. Rumors of spanking, starvation, or other forms of physical discipline aren't just gossip. They reinforce the notion that YoungBoy maintains control by combining fear with unwavering loyalty. This culture of fear doesn't just intimidate outsiders, it reshapes behavior industry-wide. Rappers are making alliances, dropping tracks, and posting social media content based on which side they perceive as safer. Rich the Kid, Lil Baby, and others have reportedly navigated collaborations cautiously because YoungBoy's network monitors every move. Work with the wrong person and you risk not just social media backlash but real consequences. YoungBoy's influence dictates career choices and industry dynamics in a way few other artists can claim. Even psychological warfare is part of the strategy. YoungBoy uses music, visuals, and social media to send messages. When he released tracks dissing King Von and Oblak, it wasn't just a musical statement. It was a warning. Posting cash on the floor spelling out "Use Gon Die and Stay Safe" is a theatrical yet chilling form of intimidation. And the reactions from rivals like Lil Durk spelling out his own cash messages in response show the pressure is real. This domino effect of fear, loyalty, and calculated moves keeps rappers in check. Everyone watches, everyone reacts, and every misstep is magnified. It's why Young Ace, once loyal to King Von and his circle, now post YoungBoy's music on his stories. Survival trumps loyalty, friendship, and past alliances. In this environment, YoungBoy doesn't just make music. He enforces a code that affects every decision, every move, every collaboration in the rap world. By understanding the loyalty of his affiliates, the fear he cultivates, and the patterns of past conflicts, it becomes clear why NBA YoungBoy isn't just another rapper with a reputation. He's a living, breathing force whose presence dictates the rhythm of the rap industry. When you step back, you see a chessboard where YoungBoy doesn't just play, he controls the board. In the rap game, loyalty is currency. But with NBA YoungBoy, that currency isn't just about friendship, it's about survival. One wrong move, one misplaced alliance, and you're not just losing clout. You could be putting your life on the line. The fear surrounding YoungBoy isn't hype. It's grounded in a pattern the streets recognize and respect. Take Lil Durk, for instance. Back when Durk was free, beef with YoungBoy was at its peak. Rappers across the country picked sides, boldly dissing YoungBoy on tracks, flaunting their alliances with Durk like badges of honor. But when Durk was locked up on higher murder charges, the narrative shifted overnight. Those same artists suddenly became cautious, their posts softer, their words measured. The lesson was clear. When YoungBoy flexes his influence, even the loudest voices learn to hush. G Herbo provides one of the most dramatic examples of this shift. Known for his loyalty to Durk, Herbo once openly aligned with him in the streets and on social media. Fast forward to recent events, and he's now spotted in clubs turning up with YoungBoy's crew, acting almost like a fan in awe of the rapper he once opposed. This isn't just a casual vibe check, it's a survival tactic. Showing love to YoungBoy has become less about respect and more about avoiding danger. Then there's Pushisti, another artist who once rode with Durk's camp. Social media now shows him liking YoungBoy's posts, celebrating his music, and even acknowledging him publicly. It's a 180-degree turn that the streets don't see as betrayal, but as a smart move to avoid the heat. And Young Ace, King Von's former right-hand man, is another example. He once stood with Von's crew, aligned against YoungBoy's network. Today, Ace is sharing YoungBoy's music, trying to curry favor. Survival outweighs past loyalties. The fear isn't abstract. It's rooted in tangible outcomes. Look at the pattern of deaths and legal troubles connected to YoungBoy's circle. G Money is dead. J.D. Young is dead. King Von? Dead. These weren't minor figures. These were artists who had conflicts or beefs with YoungBoy. The streets watch, the fans watch, and the industry watches. Even rumors of involvement are enough to influence behavior. J.D. Young, for example, had collaborations planned with YoungBoy that were abruptly halted. Later, after a falling out over a track, Jay ended up dead. Whether YoungBoy was directly involved or not, the perception created fear, and that's enough. YoungBoy's reach extends beyond his affiliates. His control over his crew sends a clear message. Step out of line and there are consequences. DJ Academics recounted visiting YoungBoy's home, noting the fear among his friends. Lil Dump's bloody lip is rumored to have been a punishment from YoungBoy himself. Allegations of spankings or temporary isolation circulate in fan discussions, but the effect is undeniable. His crew follows orders, strictly and without question. If he can discipline those closest to him, imagine what happens to outsiders. The ripple effect continues with bigger names. Rich the Kid, Lil Baby, and others have had opportunities to collaborate with YoungBoy or his rivals. Every decision is weighed against potential fallout. Work with the wrong person and you risk backlash, fan fury, or worse. YoungBoy's influence is both direct, through his affiliates, and indirect, through the culture of fear he cultivates. And then there's the psychological warfare. YoungBoy doesn't just send threats, he broadcasts them. When he dissed King Von and Oblak in his tracks, it wasn't just lyrical content, it was a warning. Cash arranged on the floor spelling "Use Gone Die and Stay Safe" became a chilling visual that transcended music. Rivals like Lil Durk responded in kind, but the stress and pressure were visible. YoungBoy's messages aren't empty threats. They're carefully calculated psychological maneuvers designed to reinforce his dominance. Even within the rap industry's social media sphere, YoungBoy's presence forces decisions. Artists who might otherwise ignore him are suddenly posting his tracks, acknowledging his releases, or performing his songs at shows. Survival has become the priority, and the streets dictate the rules. This pattern has become so pronounced that the entire rap industry now operates under the shadow of YoungBoy's reputation. Reputation that blends real-life consequences with psychological intimidation. Consider Young Ace again. Once loyal to King Von and his circle, he's now posting YoungBoy's tracks on social media. Not because he respects YoungBoy more, but because staying neutral or opposing him could have dire consequences. This is the reality of being in the rap game when a force like YoungBoy exists. Loyalty is flexible, alliances are calculated, and survival is everything. By observing these switches, the message is clear. NBA YoungBoy doesn't just make music. He manipulates the environment around him. He creates a climate where artists act based on perceived danger, where street credibility and survival outweigh pride, money, and personal history. It's a world where one wrong move could shift your career or, worse, put your life at risk. This is why the fear of YoungBoy is so pervasive. Rappers don't just respect him. They calculate every move, every post, every interaction because the consequences aren't hypothetical. The domino effect of loyalty, fear, and survival extends across the industry, influencing behavior at every level. YoungBoy's power isn't just in his music. It's in the fear, the pattern, and the real-world consequences that back it up. NBA YoungBoy isn't just a rapper with street credibility. He's a master of control, both over his crew and the narrative around him. What sets him apart isn't just the fear he inspires outside his circle. It's the way he enforces loyalty, discipline, and respect within it. To truly understand why the rap industry bends to his influence, you have to understand the rules he lives by and expects everyone around him to follow. YoungBoy's code is simple, yet brutally effective. Loyalty over everything. Family comes first. Crew comes second. Cross him, disrespect his circle, or question his authority, and you don't just lose privileges, you face consequences. DJ Academics, who visited YoungBoy's home, described the tense environment firsthand. Friends and affiliates visibly feared misstepping. Even small infractions could result in punishments ranging from public humiliation to physical discipline. Lil Dump's bloody lip is rumored to be one such example. A clear message that disobedience won't be tolerated. But it's not just about fear for fear's sake. It's psychological conditioning. By keeping his crew on edge, YoungBoy ensures their loyalty is absolute. Isolation, spankings, and strict behavioral rules may sound extreme, but in the high-stakes world he inhabits, they function as mechanisms to maintain control and prevent leaks, betrayal, or recklessness. If he can maintain order within his own household, imagine the influence he exerts over the broader industry. The rules extend beyond his inner circle. YoungBoy's influence reaches rivals and collaborators alike. Artists like Rich the Kid, Lil Baby, and G Herbo navigate every interaction cautiously. Any collaboration, feature, or public display of alignment is weighed against potential fallout. The fear isn't just of retaliation, it's of becoming entangled in the consequences of siding with the wrong camp. YoungBoy has shown repeatedly that he doesn't just create music, he enforces a code that dictates behavior across the rap world. Street credibility is another cornerstone of YoungBoy's control. Unlike other artists who rely solely on reputation or lyrical bravado, YoungBoy's influence is grounded in tangible outcomes. He doesn't just rap about street life, he lives it. Alleged hits involving his affiliates, arrests, and conflicts serve as a warning to anyone considering crossing him. The body count and legal entanglements linked to his circle send a message: don't underestimate him and don't test him. Don't underestimate him and don't test him. YoungBoy's approach combines fear, respect, and strategic communication. He doesn't always respond publicly, but when he does, it's calculated. Take his lyrical dices against rivals like King Von and O-Black, or the notorious "use gon' die and stay safe" cash display. These aren't just flexes, they're strategic psychological operations. They send a message without a single physical confrontation, demonstrating that YoungBoy can influence the industry from multiple angles, legally, socially, and psychologically. Even the perception of his power has career-altering consequences. Artists who ignore or oppose him face subtle, yet significant industry shifts. Platforms, labels, and fan bases can be indirectly influenced by YoungBoy's network, and the fear of misalignment often leads to preemptive compliance. This has forced many to rethink loyalties, with survival outweighing personal pride, past alliances, or even artistic vision. And yet, YoungBoy balances fear with opportunity. He rewards loyalty, elevates his affiliates, and ensures those who follow his code benefit from his rise. This duality, strict discipline paired with reward, creates a culture where his crew isn't just obedient, they're invested. They understand the stakes, the rules, and the potential rewards, making the circle tight-knit and almost untouchable. Consider the psychological toll this takes on outsiders. When King Von dissed YoungBoy, the response wasn't only lyrical, it became a street conflict that ended tragically for Von. Lit Yoshi, allegedly involved in conflicts with YoungBoy, faces multiple attempted murder charges and is now behind bars. These examples reinforce the message that defiance has consequences. The pattern is clear, and the rap industry observes, adjusts, and aligns accordingly. YoungBoy's untouchable status isn't a product of luck or hype. It's a carefully cultivated ecosystem of discipline, fear, loyalty, and strategic influence. He controls the narrative, the crew, and even the behavior of rivals. By enforcing strict rules within his circle and demonstrating real-world consequences for crossing him, YoungBoy has created an environment where survival is dictated by respect for his code. This is why the industry bends, alliances shift, and artists make moves that would have seemed impossible in other circumstances. It's not just music, it's a calculated power play that blends psychological warfare, street credibility, and strategic dominance. NBA YoungBoy has turned fear into an asset, loyalty into a weapon, and influence into an empire. By maintaining control over his crew and manipulating the perception of power, YoungBoy has effectively become untouchable. In a game filled with studio tough guys and fake gangsters, he stands apart, a real-life force whose reach extends far beyond the stage. And as we move into the next part, we'll explore how this untouchable code translates into real-world consequences for rivals and what it truly means to cross NBA YoungBoy. When it comes to NBA YoungBoy, the fear he inspires isn't hypothetical. It's rooted in a long string of real-world consequences that rappers and street figures alike witness every day. Crossing YoungBoy isn't just a lyrical mistake. It's a decision that can affect careers, friendships, and even lives. And in the rap world, where image and influence mean everything, this type of control is unparalleled. Look at King Von. Von was one of the most prominent young talents in Chicago, known for his charisma and street credibility. But Von made a critical error. He crossed paths with YoungBoy's circle and openly dissed him. The beef wasn't contained to music. It escalated into real-life confrontation, ultimately ending with Von's tragic death. Whether YoungBoy was directly involved is debated, but the pattern is clear. The streets connect the dots, and that connection fuels the fear that keeps others in line. Then there's Lit Yoshi, a TBG affiliate who is facing 7 attempted murder charges and is allegedly responsible for killing YoungBoy's manager, Dump. Yoshi also allegedly tried to target YoungBoy himself in Miami back in 2019. While Yoshi sits behind bars, YoungBoy continues to thrive, releasing music, topping charts, and expanding his influence. The contrast is stark. Those who oppose him face legal battles, imprisonment, or worse, while YoungBoy remains untouchable. Even artists in the mainstream feel the pressure. Lil Baby, one of the hottest rappers in the game, allegedly got crossed out for working with Dirk, a known rival. YoungBoy dissed him directly in "I Hate YoungBoy," sending a subtle yet unmistakable warning. Platforms, fans, and the narrative itself can turn against anyone who fails to recognize YoungBoy's influence. It's not just about beef, it's about understanding where the power lies. Look closer at the domino effect within social media. G Herbo, Young Ace, Pushisti, all of them have had to reconsider alliances, social posts, and public appearances. Even a single post showing support for the wrong camp can trigger backlash, fan outrage, and potential personal risk. In YoungBoy's world, survival is measured not in loyalty to old friends, but in awareness of who holds the real power. And yet, the consequences extend beyond rivalries. YoungBoy has also reshaped internal industry dynamics. Collaborations, features, and even label deals are influenced by his presence. Rich the Kid and other artists have had to navigate the minefield of who YoungBoy supports, who he opposes, and who his affiliates are aligned with. One misstep can mean losing credibility, money, or access. His influence isn't optional, it dictates the rules of engagement for the entire industry. But YoungBoy's power isn't just about fear. It's about proving that he can survive everything the streets and the industry throw at him. Despite alleged hits on his affiliates, house arrests, legal battles, and label conflicts, he continues to release chart-topping projects. He walks away from oppressive deals, secures bigger opportunities, and commands an audience that respects, or fears, his authority. This resilience amplifies the perception of untouchability, making rivals think twice before crossing him. Consider the pattern. Artists who oppose YoungBoy end up dead, locked up, or socially sidelined. Artists who align with him, even reluctantly, thrive. The message is simple. YoungBoy's influence isn't just about intimidation. It's about shaping the very ecosystem of the rap game. He controls loyalty, enforces consequences, and ensures that survival depends on recognizing his authority. Even when the streets aren't directly involved, the ripple effect is profound. Rappers now calculate their every move, posts, collaborations, lyrics, based on potential outcomes with YoungBoy. A single misaligned decision could mean alienating fans, losing opportunities, or, in extreme cases, putting oneself in danger. In a world of studio tough guys, YoungBoy's reality is a living example of power backed by action. This combination of fear, respect, and strategy has made NBA YoungBoy more than just a rapper. He's a cultural force, a living legend in his own right, and a cautionary tale for anyone thinking that fame and bravado alone can protect them. The streets, the industry, and the fans all recognize it. YoungBoy is untouchable. He is the ultimate test of loyalty, and the consequences of failing that test are visible for everyone to see. By observing his affiliates, understanding his code, and seeing the outcomes of crossing him, it becomes clear why the entire rap industry bends in his presence. Artists switch sides, alliances shift, and survival takes precedence over pride or past loyalties. NBA YoungBoy doesn't just make music, he defines the rules of the game. At this point, it's clear NBA YoungBoy isn't just another rapper with a scary reputation. He's a living, breathing force whose influence stretches across the streets, social media, and the music industry itself. His power isn't built on hype or clever marketing. It's built on loyalty, fear, strategy, and real-world consequences. Rappers don't just respect YoungBoy, they calculate their every move around him. From social media posts to collaborations and appearances, survival has become a deciding factor. You see it with G Herbo, Pushisti, Young Ace, and countless others. Careers and friendships are redirected in response to his presence. The streets are watching, the fans are watching, and the industry is watching. In this environment, knowing how to navigate around YoungBoy is more than smart. It's essential. The fear he inspires is grounded in a pattern that speaks louder than words. Alleged hits, arrests, rivalries, and the fates of those who oppose him create a domino effect that reminds everyone what happens when you cross the line. YoungBoy's affiliates, like Lil Pap and Ben 10, embody the consequences of loyalty and the reality of street power, and his ability to maintain control within his own crew ensures that the influence radiates outward. But it's not all intimidation. YoungBoy rewards loyalty and success. Those who align with him, whether by choice or necessity, often thrive. Chart-topping projects, collaborations, and access to his network are all part of the ecosystem he manages. The lessons are clear. Respect the code, understand the stakes, and recognize the power structure. In YoungBoy's world, knowledge is survival and loyalty is currency. For rappers and fans alike, NBA YoungBoy represents a unique intersection of street credibility, industry savvy, and raw power. He operates by rules few understand, and his influence forces even the biggest names to reconsider alliances, strategies, and public behavior. His music is only one facet of his empire. The real story lies in the fear, loyalty, and consequences that underpin it. So, here's the takeaway. When you see a rapper switching sides, posting another artist's tracks, or publicly showing allegiance, it's not always about respect or admiration. Often it's about survival. And in the case of NBA YoungBoy, survival isn't a choice. It's a necessity. This is why the rap game bends around him, why alliances shift overnight, and why the stories of loyalty, betrayal, and fear are endless. Now, I want to hear from you. Are these rappers right to be scared, or are they just being smart? Do you think YoungBoy's reputation is overblown? Or does he really control the game in ways most people can't even imagine? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to see your opinions. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the power and fear surrounding NBA YoungBoy, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you never miss another explosive breakdown. We cover everything from rap beef, street stories, celebrity drama, and insider truths you won't see anywhere else. The streets and the industry are watching. Are you? Stay tuned, stay aware, and remember, in a world where loyalty, power, and survival collide, NBA YoungBoy isn't just a name. He's a force that even the hardest rappers think twice about crossing.